Hello, everyone, and welcome to Doha Heat podcast. This is Ifat Sayed, and I'm sitting in for Elizabeth Wood. If you've been with us for 3 years, you might remember me from when I used to host the show with Andrew Clark. But welcome to our special guest today, Hichame Moubarak, who is an ultra endurance athlete and a plant-based nutrition advocate, and he has a full-time job as well in Qatar. So welcome, Mr. Hichame.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So just an announcement. We recently discovered that animal shelters in Qatar are going through a crisis situation, and they need funding to be able to save and continue to shelter the hundreds of animals here. So we set up a GoFundMe for them, and we'll provide the link in the show notes. So it would be great if you could please help save the animal shelters, which are sheltering hundreds of animals here. Thank you. So Mr. Hichame, what brought you to Qatar?
Good question. What brought me to Qatar was a work offer. I was not knowing the Middle East at all. I was based at that time in Caribbean. Then I've been sometimes in Nigeria, in Africa, and probably after spending 2 years in Nigeria in a very rough environment, I found this opportunity that, Qatar came up, and I decided to say, let's have a look and give it a try. Yeah.
So how has it been for you so far?
I'm in Qatar since almost now 10 years. So far, I will say that the 3 first years for me were like I explore the area, which is I explore myself. I try to adapt against the culture, about the environment, about the weather and the heat. And I will say the last 7 years were just amazing for me, with some up and down, lots of ups. But this is how we built our mind and the way we think. So in general, I will say very positive, very dynamic city as Doha. Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk a little bit about your healthy lifestyle and how you got into ultra endurance and stuff like that. So would you want to elaborate a bit?
I always start by describing myself for who I'm not. So I'm always saying I'm not talented. I'm not gifted on anything. I'm just somebody ordinary to try to do always extraordinary things every day. I'm not crazy also. That's a very important point that I will explain later during the show how I'm saying that. So I'm always thinking why not doing things that everybody thinks are impossible, So I always try to put myself under circumstances or conditions that, by changing my mind or changing the way I think, maybe I can do that, or maybe I can do this, And this applies in every sectors of our lives, at work, in our lifestyle, with our families, in our relationships, So, just to go explaining a bit about my background, I grew up in France. I'm born in France. I grew up in let's say, rough conditions. I call it the name of all these buildings around were flowers, and it was the name of building with name of flower around concretes everywhere. It was like a jungle concrete, and all these people coming from the immigration from Morocco, Algeria, and all these places, Africa, were just parked there. And I grew up in this area, from the age 0 to 13, spending my childhood this way, and doing good things, trying to go to school, trying to not miss any day at school, with my parents trying to educate us, me and my brother. We are a family of 7. And I was more heading on the bad side than the let's say the good side.
So you're a naughty kid.
Yeah. I was really heading to something bad, really. And one day I just decided, looking at myself, and my condition, I just decided at 13 years old to leave my home place, my parents and my brother and sister, to go to a kind of school that redirect you to the right path, and kind of boarding school stuff, So I decided on my own.
And at the age of 13?
Yes, at the age of 13.
Usually that's the age when
yeah,
teenagers go crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But I know that if I was staying there, I was going to be very, very bad. I was going to terminate into something that was not okay. So, and I know that I was having some kind of capabilities to understand things and doing things at that time. So I just decided to go and go that way. So in life, we have like the right side and the easy way, which is the right side, or hard way, which is the left side. And I think I decided to go at that age at the left side, the hard side, exposing myself and try to understand why I'm like this or why I'm like that. Because from background also, it's all about how you live from a culture in house, where you grow up with a certain kind of culture, and you are outside exposed to another culture. So it's there was this duality of culture that I was having always to manage with my brother and myself and people around in France, and say the words, the racism, and stuff like this, around where you grew up, which was quite difficult. So I was thinking like, let's use that negativity and transform it into something for me. So it was a very, very, very long process, and I think I'm starting to see the light of that process just now in 2018, from 13 years old to now. So I would not give you my age. So that's the way I grew up, and I grew up with way of thinking. Try always to make pleasure to the others instead of yourself. So this is how you realize that how pathetic you can be. How your life can be driven by the outside instead of the inside. So that's how I think at that time, at 13 years old. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how did you decide to what attracted you towards health and fitness and active lifestyle?
Something when you start to read your own book, on the inside, when you start to stop listening on the outside, and you realize that you are really you have not started your journey. Actually, you think you have done things, and you realize that no, you have not done anything so far. You think you have a nice job, a nice family, a nice car, and everything, and you think you achieved something, but in fact you have not achieved anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I'm thinking. So I was saying, let's attack myself. Let's start to read my own book, on the inside, and then when you start to read your own book, this is where you realize that I don't know myself. I don't know myself. So why it's not what about you like, what about you do. It's about how you feel, how you connect your mind, your body and soul into a greatness, something that is great in the inside, not greatness on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of meditation. So I think I was attracted by this type of things, and this brings me to this type of lifestyle and the way of thinking and nutrition around and stuff.
Yeah, that resonates with me, because being introspective and realizing, for me personally, working out, going to the gym, living a healthy lifestyle helps with emotional stability to a large extent. So that really resonate with that. And I know that you're a plant-based nutrition advocate, and for someone like me who really doesn't know anything about that, can you elaborate? Can you tell us a bit more about it? What kind of lifestyle is that?
Plant-based, it's like I'm eating plant-based now since 1 year and a half. This came I was trying at that time to achieve something, but I felt that my body and my mind were not connected, and I was not able to reach my goals, because I really believe that we need goals. So I educate myself. Actually, we are always educating ourselves every day, and I start to look at some podcasts. I start to listen around, read some books and stuff, and I realized that most of the running athletes in the world are, first of all, taking care of their nutrition and their mind. And they are more and more, due to this society around and all this, probably this pesticide and the food and the no nutrient food that we have in these shops around, they probably realize that to sustain their training and their performance, they need to probably eat much more healthy. So this came to my mind like, okay, I'm going to investigate that, and I realized that practically, let's say 80% of them are eating like plant-based. Plant-based is like sustaining your nutrition mainly with food provide from plants like I don't know, kale or spinach or whatever plants, maca, superfood stuff, and acai, like this type of things, and they were removing all this animal source food like meat, fish, eggs, dairy, even honey, and I read a lot about that, and I try it myself, and I was able to not to go into distance longer, but more about sustaining a kind of pace for longer. Like I was able actually at that time to run, let's say 20, 40K, it's fine, but with which quality from 0 to 20 or 0 to 40, with which quality of cadence with my run, with which quality every day I'm waking up and thinking about my relationship or my family or my work, did I have a clear mind? I'm connected with my body while I'm running, It's not about achieving distance. It's really about being really connected in the deepest way of your body and with the mind and all these things. So, and I realized that food allowed me to achieve such things, at least to feel it from the surface. And right now I'm grounding and going into deeper level, but it was kind of really weird when you feel that, oh, I eat that yesterday and I wake up more fresh. Oh, I test that during a run while running, and I do not have disturbance. This give me a kind of punch, and while you have this type of food, like in kind of processed food, you don't feel these things. So I really see the difference, and that's why I was just heading myself to this type of nutrition to sustain challenges that I'm trying to have right now.
So you cut out meat and animal sourced, all sorts of animal sourced food from your life. How is that different from being vegan or vegetarian?
Vegan is definitely you remove meat, you remove fish, you remove dairy, you remove chicken, you remove everything. Actually, and so few people say, "What are you eating? Where your protein comes from?" There is lots of protein in spinach. There is lots of protein in many other foods. I eat lots of nuts. I explore a lot around superfoods, like chlorella, like spirulina, like maca powder, cacao. I can kill 1 kilo of cacao per week. I mean, I am doing my own food for my runs. I experiment a lot. It's really about experimenting, testing yourself against this type of food. It takes really, really a long time to find what you need to sustain your life. And there is no magic potion, and you do this, you do that. It's really a test, and sometimes it takes years, to find something very interesting. And when you found it, you feel it, definitely. When you found it, you feel it. And I had to go to that direction because running this amount of distance that I'm doing are very challenging, and definitely you cannot sustain that with processed food. You can eat some processed food who do not have any nutrient-dense nutrients, for your blood cells and stuff. So, but it will not sustain you for months and for years, and you may actually damage your body, with all this pesticide, as I say, this pesticide, we know that they attack the cells and the gut, the microbiome stuff around, there's lots of things around nutrition,
Well, so is it necessary that if someone's eating meat that it's always going to be processed? And maybe in Qatar, is that the case then, usually?
You can have a meat from your butcher, at the shop. It looks like meat, okay, it's fine, but the question we need to ask ourselves is which way this meat come from, the traceability, and did they use what kind of food this animal eat, to grow and all these things. And I really strongly believe that it's not like in Japan, we put all that music around and this beef are dancing, the Kobe beef. So very, very, very healthy way for them to be grown and eaten. But I've also kind of thinking about, animals like human. They are not human, but when you look at a cow, and when you look at a child, this cow, when they look at their children, and when they remove the baby, and the cow is looking at the baby and crying, I think these animals are like soul, So that was driven for me by some athletic performance, but I also have in mind that there is a soul aspect. There is we are all here in let's say nature and universe to live together, and it's part of the world.
Well, okay. So I just want to go a little back to when you were talking about you running. When did you start running, and why?
I think I was a good runner at school. By the simple fact that I was always in the top 5 in the school on each race or something, so I always think that I can do something in running, Then I start to run and do some kind of competition, but not seriously. Actually, it was more about schools, going with the school and teachers and running around. So then my life took me, like I say, out of my hometown, out of my parents. So I have to build myself in different way, like callousing my mind. Callousing. It's like you callous your leg when you run. I callous my mind when I was very younger. So from the age from 13 to let's say 30 years old, I was having a phase of running, but most of it, trying to build myself through this external world, and this work, you have to work because it's only with work that you can exist. You will have lots of money with work, and you can have a nice car and a nice house. And I was just, following that what I've got, like what people teach me, and what I heard from everywhere around, and like a child, you just listen and you just think, that's the truth. That's how we should do it, Then I realized that it's not like this. At 30 years old, I have some personal issues, and I face kind of wall. And this is where you say that to yourself that you are again another another one pathetic again, and you think like what I've done in my life so far. You grow up 30 years old, you look at yourself in the mirror, and the reflection you have of yourself into the mirror, you just said, wow, nothing. So nothing. I'm just saying that, okay, so far I have a good work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but what did I achieve really? I mean, for me, for my inside greatness, for this type of things. And I just found out that not achieve anything. Honestly, I'm honest with you, nothing. So I was thinking about how I can be more authentic, how I can be more authentic, and found a way to be more listening to the inside and silence the noise of the outside. So we are always this. We always have this noise coming from the outside, like this society. You need to listen to the news and see the what's going on around. And you feel like and more in this time right now, how the society is faster. You see how many messages we get per day. This social stuff. Really sometimes I really believe that we need to be in connection with the society, of course, and see how the things goes. But most of the time to be not disconnected, but to be detached,
Yeah.
you know, of this. Excuse me, sometimes my English is French, and I have sometimes some difficulty to find my words. So I decided at that age to kind of attack myself, you know. Attacking myself for me was more about putting myself into some uncomfortable situation, like doing things that I was afraid of, swimming, diving. I was afraid of jumping with elastic rope, like doing bungee jump. So I've done all these things. I've done a bungee jump from one of the highest tower in Macau, you know, 240 meters or something. Honestly, being on the top of that and looking at the bottom, you just say, "What's going on?" I done a bungee jump from a bridge in Nepal with some earthquake around and some inundation water coming from China. It was just unrealistic, you know. And I was really putting myself into circumstances that, oh, this is not normal what you are doing. So always exposing myself, but you quickly realize that, again, you are using and doing things that are coming from the outside to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea was after to how to attack yourself, you not using any circumstances from the outside. So put yourself into something really, really uncomfortable. So then this is where I start to work out some triathlon races, you know, where you swim, you bike and run, and this is, I think, where I realized that it's gonna be tough, you know, to swim 3, 4, 5 kilometers in a row, to bike 100 kilometers or 200 kilometers in a row, and then run. This is really something that put your physical part of your body into some places where you are really, really tested, you know, where you realize that, wow, I've never been in such pain, such suffering, and you have two choices at that time. You can silence the noise and keep going until you break your leg, until you sink, you know, or until or you listen to that noise in your mind telling you, oh, you have pain, you should stop. And this was the voice I was listening before, at that time, you know, before going into all this suffering and stuff. Right now in my life, when this voice is coming, I do not pay attention to it. For me, it's just like it will just keep going, because that's the way the human is built, you know, our brain is like that. But I have now tools and capabilities to go beyond that noise and beyond that voice, you know. I have 2-3 technique, and really what I'm usually do is that I face the pain. I just go through it, and in 9 times out of 10, you let this 5-10 minutes or hours or 2 hours, you know, to go through pain or even more, and you realize that, oh, that was nothing actually. So you realize that you went through it, and at the end of the day, you realize that if you have listened to that voice and you could have stopped, you decided not to stop and not to listen, and you achieved something. So it's like you built up another step into your life, you know, and you think differently every day. You think differently. Running also outside or doing outdoor activities allow you to be connected to nature, and I strongly believe that the air we breathe, of course we are in town or something, I always train outdoor and outside Doha, into the desert, into heat, and during summer, winter, anytime. And I strongly believe that the air I breathe is directly connected with my gut, with my body, and this allowed me to be really, really kind of connected with myself. And so all these things together, connection with nature, listening to your mind, listening to your body, your soul, you know, all these things together takes me from this age to till now, being able to build, you know, a mind that allow me to think in different way and to be able to attack any kind of challenge in life. I will say any kind of challenge, even death now, because the way I callous my mind with all this exercise and all this challenge that I'm doing, even if someone close to me die, I will not fall apart. Honestly, I will not fall apart. I will be sad, of course, but I will not fall and crumble, and I will be able to manage that pain in a way that I will go through it, I will go through it.
So building up emotional and mental strength through your physical
Correct.
strength. Okay,
Correct,
that's pretty
yes.
inspiring.
Yeah, that's correct. And it takes sacrifice, it takes time, because the job is never finished in our mind. It's always challenging us. It's always, but it takes time. Yeah.
So tell us about your water campaign with the Desert Grand Slam. That's your campaign of the year that you've been working on. So tell us about that.
Yeah. I was thinking about how I'm going to explain that during this podcast, and there is two ways actually. The way that I always say is that what is missing into the desert, and what inspired me deserts in Qatar, is water. And I say, I'm going to found a project or do something related to water. But preparing this podcast, because I'm a triathlete and I like to get the things prepared. I cannot come like this without any preparation. Something came to my mind like a vision, and this was a true moment when I was child. I was in Morocco with my parents, and I remember a moment. I think I was like maybe 7 years old or 10 years old, and I remember a moment. We were, maybe my father and some people around. We were near a well, a well probably in the desert somewhere there, and there was no water into that well. And I really remember especially a moment where everybody was sad of this water was not available, at that time. And I remember it was like a summertime or something. So I think unconsciously I'm doing what I'm doing right now due to an event that probably sparked or came or happened at the age of 7 or 10 years old, And I think about this recently, like 4 or 5 days, I think. So, and I said, yeah, that makes sense, actually. I strongly believe that things sometimes happen in your childhoods, are resurfacing or being alive, on your old days, We are young, actually. It's not old days. Yeah. So that's the way the project came, and
what is the project? What are you doing?
The project is this actually. The project is I tried to describe it. Is to cross after my triathlon races. I was thinking about how can I be more connected with myself, and how can I be more connected with nature in general. So I found out that ultra running, sports, athletics races exist in the world, and I explored this disciplines by running 150 kilometers just to see if I'm okay with that, and if I like it. And something sparked inside me, like this is really different than triathlon. So this is really sport that allow you to be really connected with yourself, with nature. It's not about being fast. Ultra running is to slow down the least, actually. It's if you go to a 200-kilometer race, you may win the race if you slow down the least. So it's not starting fast, running fast. It's really to slow down the least versus the other competitor. And what took me to that type of races is that connection to nature, and being disconnected with this society in general. I'm more and more affected with noise around. I'm more and more affected about the things that have no sense, in general. I really don't care about being fancy or being having a good job or having a lot of money. I really don't care about all these things. I care about myself, the way I think, And I think these values and this way of thinking took me naturally to ultra running. I remember a moment on my first 50K, I was running with a friend, Natasha, maybe she will listen. We were on the top of a mountain, maybe like 300 people running, and she was behind me like maybe 15 meters, having her moment, and I was having my moment, and I was just looking around and say, wow, this is just amazing, you know. We are so detached from that society and being ourselves, you know, alone and running around. It was a foggy moment, you know. It was like wow. It's like you born, you know. It's like you are. We are made from nature, you know. So yeah, kind of reborn, and that's what took me to ultra running, I think, at the beginning. So I decided to explore more in this area, and I found out that there is races in the world that are called the Four Deserts. This one, the Four Deserts race, which they are part of the toughest race in the world. Actually, the Four Deserts. It's basically to run the four most unhospitable desert on Earth, which is the hottest, I cannot remember the next one coming, the windiest, the driest, and the coldest. So this project is going to take me. I've just finished Namibia, 250 kilometers there, and the next one is Mongolia, and after that, 6 weeks after, I will go to Chile, to Atacama Desert, and I will finish, I hope, if I'm healthy and injury-free, with the coldest, which is Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
Antarctica Desert, yeah. So the challenge is really about sustaining all this race, because people think that you run a 20K or you run 40K, and if the next day you have nothing, you are healthy or you are fit, you know. Being fit, it's not about going for distance. Being fit is really about every day being able to put your shoes or do a kayak session or whatever you like to do constantly.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I call being fit, you know. Being fit is about running 42 kilometers every day. Being fit, it's about waking up, going to work, you know, having a family and children to educate, and that's fitness for me.
Okay.
That's not sports. Fitness is about taking everything what life throw at you, and you can just manage it, you know.
Consistency, basically.
Consistency, yeah. And one word is self-discipline, I think. Self-discipline is really a key. Self-talk, self-discipline, visualization, and all these things are really key. So I link the Four Deserts with the charity water cause, and basically it's running in total 1,000 kilometers, 4 times 250 kilometers, and I'm trying to help 1,000 families or 1,000 people through that project. So that's why I have this flag here on my race jersey, and this Four Deserts logo, and my charity water cause partner, and I have my sponsors partner, G Estates.
Okay. So so you run, and how do you make money for this cause while you're running? How does that work?
There is two aspects into this project. First of all, you need to have money to enter to the race, race fees and transport and flight and all these things. So this comes from me and my partner. It's 5-digit above. I gave you a price above $45,000. $45,000 to achieve this 4 race. So this is my thing to deal with my partner, and we are working together toward this. But the second aspect is the charity cause, which is managed under a donation platform that we can share probably later. But people can basically donate through that charity platform anything from $0 to thousands of US dollar. I get donation like one day $2,250, another day $1,000, another day $20. It's not about the big money and stuff. My goal is really to achieve $30,000 within this 7 months window when I start the race 1 to race number 4 in Antarctica. So we have $11,200 donated already, which is 37 of the goal, and for sure 372 people will get clean water access. I don't know the location yet, but it will be potentially in Uganda, Ethiopia, Cambodia, or Vietnam in South Asia.
Mhm.
It's basically, this dark water, that you can see sometimes on some picture or some documentary that child, go and collect them and go back to the village, and we are flushing our toilets with clean water. I mean, I cannot understand that. And these people are drinking dirty water. So I think I was just feeling uncomfortable with all this, and I just trying to use my energy and my way of thinking, building my mind through my childhood and all these things to right now trying to give back, to the society, to the community.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I have these two flags, because French, this is the country where I grew up and my nationality, and Qatar is the country that provides me kind of wealth, something like peaceful from a material point of view.
Yeah.
So I want to return these things that I learned using that money into something positive.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Very challenging, very, very lots of times require lots of sacrifice, but I strongly believe that it's worth. I'm healthy. These people, if they drink clean water, the next day they may feel healthy like us. They may expand themselves socially. Child can go to school. The chance that we had ourselves when we were younger. So it's really a project that connects mind, body, soul, water, challenging yourself, exploring your own limits, and it can really be interesting for society, younger people, modern society, that instead of running after modernity and running after, to be the best, being the best is not to win, being the best is to make sure that you deliver the maximum of yourself,
Yeah.
and that's also some kind of message that I'm trying to exchange here. It's knowing your limits. Do not think about that you cannot do it. Think that everything is impossible. Found about the greatness that you have in your body, because greatness is not meant for the outside. We will all hit the wall at one time in our life. Always, we always hit the wall. I never know nobody perfect in this world. Never. We always hit the wall. So the idea is how do you want to hit the wall? Myself, I hit the wall in a very hard way. I don't want to go through that and explain that, but I think that we have a greatness in each out of us, and we can really do crazy things if we really want to first suffer, go for some hard work, and this can be related to life, to sport, to anything, and having some courage also to do the things. And it's all about that. It's going into distance, running, ultra running. It's not about running distance. I'm running for life, for my life. I'm running for my life to be better, and I'm not running for winning races, just to help. That's it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a good way to end the episode. We'll definitely share your link on the show notes of this episode, so you can contribute whatever amount of money you have for the wonderful cause that Mr. Hichame is supporting. And thank you so much for being on the show with us. It was a pleasure.
Welcome.
Thank you, and see you all in the next episode.
Thank you.